Well, hi there. A Knife's Tale here, bringing you a knife summary that I've done a review on. This is the Vosteed Thunderbird. This knife's review. Pardon me, I got a little crap in the throat. The allergies. Ah, yes. This knife's review will be linked in the description. So let us just quickly cover the summary for the Vosteed Thunderbird. This is a version that is about 3.4. I'd consider that about 3.4 inches of blade. I think they consider it 3.48. I don't quite get there, but it's about 8.25 overall. It's important to note that there are multiple versions of this, which I wasn't actually even aware of until I really looked it up. There's like a 3.5-inch blade version, which is this. There's 3.125, and then there's like a 3-inch bladed version. Tons of options. They come in this G10 as the cheapest, usually around $129. There's carbon fiber variants, there's titanium variants, there's aluminum variants, there's Ultim or PEI variants. And someone had to be having a joke when they named that, because just I don't know. It's yellow. And also, something else that varies wildly is the steel. There's 154 cm, this S35VN, M390, and LMAX options. So there's tons of stuff for this knife. Just quickly cover that. Also, would like to say that if you find any of this useful or helpful or informative or interesting, or you just want to support a channel, consider liking and subscribing to my channel. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Alright, so what are we looking at here? Looking at a satin, that arcs a little bit, clip point blade with a little bit of a harpoon, a little tiny bit of poon. Dual ground. Technically, there is a bit of an change in angle there, so it is a Tonto. It is a dual ground Tonto. Both flat ground, unfortunately. I do kind of wish this was hollow ground down here. Or is it hollow ground? If it is, it might be. Just a tiny bit. It's not like the thinnest, deepest hollow grind. It's very close to being a flat grind. It's definitely flat ground up here. G10 handles with a little bit of milling and stuff in them. And you'll notice this point, this clip is reversible, and there's a filler tab. However, actually the filler tab's right here. I don't know if this is just me, but I'm not a fan of the filler tab. It's kind of distracting. Kind of looks out of place. It's a relatively large filler tab. And the G10 pattern continues underneath it, so it's just a little more continuous and decent looking without the filler tab, so I removed mine. It comes naturally installed. Deep carry pocket clip, almost deep carry positioning, but it is got inset screws. Flat, good retention. Like this is, it's got a lot of flex, but it comes back and holds. Even though it's not the tallest one, it's definitely going to allow most pants to get at least up to here, even thick ones. As long as you can get this thing to start lifting up and around your pants, it's going to go in. It's just not the tallest clip, but that helps it with the ergos because it is a relatively, it's not a wide handle in any particular, from any direction. It's not wide. This is, I believe, I want to say that's a copper backspacer. It might be brass. Usually brass is a little bit less dark with a little bit of reddish tint to it, but it could just be patinaed a little bit, so who knows. Not me, and I'm not wasting my time looking up the backspacer material. There is a lanyard post hidden, best way a lanyard can be, obviously. Got a decent looking pivot here. it is captured, and the hardware is T8. In fact, is... No, okay. The screws are T6, but that only applies if you ever have to swap the clip to the other side. Everything else is T8, so which is nice. As I mentioned earlier, S35VN. Thunderbird is on there, which I don't love. I don't like when they put the name of it on there, but it's small, it's off to the side, it's not cluttering up too much, and even the Vosteed logo here is not cluttering up too much. So you got the blade as the main attraction, which is nice. Opening method, you have a flicking aperture, and technically a fuller that you can use. You have a flipper, and a front flipper. And the jimping on the tabs here, the flipper and the front flipper, is like the good kind of jimping. It's like the wire tight jimping. It provides traction without being too aggressive. It does definitely provide some traction here. Like this is gripping. It is a little deep in the handle to actually be providing it back here, which is kind of an odd choice, but it does provide traction. So flipping off, yeah, I'm flipping everybody off. No. So slipping off of the flipper is not something that's normally going to happen. Now, as you can see, this is a button lock mechanism. This is a slightly different mechanism than your standard button lock, which I believe they call the Trek lock for this knife. It is fully encapsulated in the blade. Never comes out of the blade. And I honestly don't know if there's anything else that makes it unique, but it does seem to make it stronger and more solid. There's also a stop pin up there. This is not a stop pin. I'm actually not 100% sure. Maybe it's a stop pin in the closed position. Yeah, it's a stop pin in the closed. Oh, of course. Bringing us to our next thing. The stop pin hits right there. Way too close. Honestly, it would have been a lot better if they had figured out how to make this a stop pin in the open and closed position. Let's be honest, because you have one already in there. Stop pin in the closed position hits right behind the edge. Yes, you have about that much life on there. Do you start running into some issues? I do think you could probably put a choil in front of that. You're just not going to be able to, you know, make the choil match up well because you can't take that steel right there. So it's going to be sort of a second little hump. And honestly, the grind on this thing is pretty darn shallow, and it gets thick enough pretty quickly that honestly, it's probably not going to be an issue. Only because you really don't have any more life than this in this blade. you can't cut in a drill to get more life out of it if it becomes too thick, and it's just not really viable. So, I mean, it's not the longest life blade ever, but it's... especially if you get... like, if you want to lay the edge back, you're definitely going to be coming into issues if you regularly use this thing consistently. So, this one is a little bit more style over substance. Is what it is. It does have weight reduction in there. You can kind of see it. What's interesting is that the actual liners are really thin. They're like this. They're just like a thin line. They don't go along the entire handle, or they don't go out to the edges of the handle. So it's really thin linered, which means like the edges are just thick G10. Certainly works for weight reduction. It's comfortable in hand. Quite comfortable in hand. There is a choke-up position, but honestly, this choke-up position is... It works if you're like this. If you can go here and be comfortable, if you feel like you have to go up into the choil, like, just... if that's where your grip wants to be and you don't feel comfortable until you're up fully into the choil, you are right on that edge, and I wouldn't suggest it. But if you can just sort of grip back here and grip at this angle and pull there, you're far enough away from the choil that it's not going to cause a problem, and it's totally usable. It's quite comfortable. And as I said, there is jimping right here to help with that. There's a nice texture on the button as well. That's just a side thing. I will notice that this button sticks out quite a bit. I don't know if every variant, like more refined variants, this was a pretty early Thunderbird, so they might have tweaked a few things. I know they adjusted the Trek lock mechanism, I think. But I can't speak to that, as this is the only one I have in my possession. The final thing to note on this thing, for the summary, is that it does have a bit of a weak detent, but it does carry pretty well. It's not the strongest detent. Never button locks aren't, but this is. It's not that it's not strong, it's just a little bit mushy. But, as you can see, it's pretty easy to succeed. You'd have to really, like, almost cheat to not succeed with it. So it carries really well, and the front flipper is super easy. Actuation methods are really nice. It's a very interesting knife. I'm not as in love with it as I thought I would be when I first got it, but it's not a bad knife. It just has some very real limitations, mostly because of how low that grind is and that it gets thick quickly. That's just, it's not going to be your long-time user. If you're going to use this thing regularly and sharpen it regularly, you're definitely going to run out of knife relatively quick compared to some. Go into it with that in mind, and you'll be fine. So that's going to finish the Vosteed Thunderbird summary. I will end it here, and thank you all for watching. See ya.